Welcome to everybody to, pardon me, I stumbled there. Welcome everybody to The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. This is March 24th, 2021, and I'm here with Daniel Bertison.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
You're in Ontario for maybe people who are just joining in, and I'm here in North Hollywood. And this is episode 21, March 24th, 2021. So what's on your mind, Daniel?
Well, we were talking about, did you hear, I've been hearing rumors that Sony's not doing so well financially and they might have to sell their movie division to Marvel Disney.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Sony. They've been not doing well. I think it's executive overhead is destroying Sony. And what I mean by that is they've made some really bad business decisions over the years. They've been going downhill for at least 8 years. I remember in 2013, they sold their PC division to another company. And so like Vio laptops still exist, but they're no longer Sony Vio laptops, as Sony sold off their software to another company called Magic. Vegas used to be really good video editing software made by Sony Vegas. And so it's interesting, but you know, it's almost like it's been in an economic recession for a long time. I don't know what's going on with Sony. They made a lot of good products, like they made the Sony Walkman. They make really good monitors. They make really good video cameras.
The Sony PlayStation is okay, not as good as it used to be, but it's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they got too much of their eggs in one basket. But a lot of times these companies, like with what happened with Blockbuster in 2010, you know, they got too much executive overhead. The management is overpaid and underworked. And what do I mean by management being overpaid and underworked? Is, you know, look at like Blockbuster. Blockbuster went bankrupt in 2010 because they defaulted on a $20 million bond. And they also declined to buy Netflix when they had an opportunity to buy Netflix. And this is all executive overhead, because like if you're getting paid $20 million a year, who cares if you make good business decisions? You got your $20 million, your platinum parachute, you retire, and you know, it doesn't really matter. And you milk the company for all the little money that you can get out of it, and you screw the employees over, you screw the consumers over, and you screw everybody over. Yeah, there needs to be more regulation on these companies. But yeah, so the CEO of Blockbuster in 2010 was getting paid $20 million a year in stock dividends and other special bonuses, and yet they defaulted on a $20 million bond. And you would think, for all the bad business decisions that the last CEO of Blockbuster made, that they would have sacked him. But no, it's just basically, most of these corporations, it becomes like a giant Ponzi scheme. Take their cut off the top and screw everybody else. And if I had to guess, that's probably what's going on with Sony, because they've made some bad business decisions. They used to make really good laptops. It's like, well, why did you sell your PC division? And then, you know, and their movies haven't been doing that well lately. I just think it's a lot of it's just executive overhead, and you know, management is overpaid and underworked. Most corporations management is overpaid and underworked. Like they can do an incompetent job as a banker executive, or you know, an executive of an entertainment company. They can do an incompetent job, but they still get their golden and platinum parachute, and they're still good to go. And they screw everybody else. It's just basically a global Ponzi scheme. Anyway.
Wow.
So, yeah, in a way, I'm not surprised. I just think, you know, when you get into corporate culture and executive overhead, this whole idea that, oh, because I'm an executive, I'm entitled to get 20 million a year and, you know, treat my employees like crap. But yeah, you know, I could go on and on about that. It's pretty much you know, business model 101 when it comes to American corporations and how greedy and stingy and corrupt and just how they got their tentacles into everything and they're screwing everything up in America.
Wow, you seem to know a lot about this kind of stuff. You know a lot
I
about it.
follow a lot of this stuff and yeah, I mean, in America, our economy's never really recovered from the 2008 economic downturn, and now it's even worse because of COVID. Everything is like a freaking nightmare.
Hmm.
You know, like, you know, still a year later, all the libraries are closed. You can't go to bars or clubs or movie theaters because we've done such a piss poor job at handling COVID. We've done such a piss poor job of taking care of people. We've let people get evicted, and there was over 40 million people unemployed in America, and you know there are social services are stretched thin, and everything is just screwed the hell up. And for what I could see so far with Biden, he's just doing more of the same policies that Trump had done. So, um,
He's not doing any better, huh?
I mean, he passed the stimulus bill, the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill, but he didn't put in any stipulation for debt collectors. So that means the majority of people who are behind in their rent, the majority of people such as me, I owe a lot of debt, student loan debt. You know, I owe former landlord money, a certain amount of money. So there's not going to be any $1,400 stimulus for me because they means tested it for, you know, and so, you know, and also I got sued by Verizon because Verizon screwed me over. They lied to me, the employees did. They told me that I could try out a 2-week free trial, and this was in 2019. And so I returned my equipment because their mobile Wi-Fi hotspot was like as slow as dial-up speed. It was basically an overglorified pager. And yeah, Verizon has been notorious for overcharging their customers. And I was told that I had a free trial. I canceled after 2 weeks, and they charged me a $300 early contract termination fee. But they told me that I had a 2-week free trial. So I have debt collectors like that. You know, I have a former landlord that I owe money to. I owe money to Verizon, even though I technically should owe money to Verizon. I just don't have the money to hire a lawyer or the expertise in law to sue these people because everything's got to be like certain particular way if it comes to legal procedures. It's not a matter of just writing a note to a judge. You got to actually have expertise in how to follow up on things, and everything moves really, really slow in the civil courts compared to criminal justice courts. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, I'm not surprised that Sony may sell their movie division. I guess the only thing Sony will have left will be like making TVs and making video cameras.
And hopefully PlayStations. You know, that's pretty much it. But I really hope that they, you know, I mean, like I said on the phone before, see this pandemic, there's going to be a third wave coming, right? And apparently, reportedly, this third wave is going to be worse. I think
Probably because
I
we've
think in
done
the
such
summer.
a really bad job at rolling out vaccines here in America. I mean, you know, we don't have enough vaccines to vaccinate everybody, so that allows the virus to continue to spread and to continue to mutate. You have different mutated variants. There's a different variant from Southern California where I live. There's a new mutated variant. There's a mutated variant in England. There's two new mutated variants from Africa. from what I understand, the variant in England and the variant in Southern California, the vaccine will work on, but the new variants from out of Africa, the vaccine will not work on. And so, you know, because we have really, really, really bad healthcare in America. The life expectancy in America is actually going down. We're already getting close to more Americans that or we're getting close to the same number of Americans have died from COVID that died during the American Civil War. I mean, it's just it's surreal and unbelievable what are just incompetence of our politicians. I mean, like in Canada, I think everybody got a UBI. If you were unemployed, uh, they were giving people $2,000 a month in Canada. Uh, but not here in America. We got one stimulus of $1,200 to last us a whole year. And then a year later, we got $600. And that's, for most people, that's not good enough if you're 6 months behind on your rent. Um, yeah, it's just everything's so screwy. And Biden is not doing much better. I mean, Biden is reopened the detention facilities for immigrant children or migrant children, and Biden, you know, bombed Syria, you know, just because he's like, oh, I'm gonna make sure we keep the corporate agenda alive, and he's not really doing much, and he seems to be doing almost the exact same thing that Trump was doing, but I don't know. I mean, at least Biden is not a fascist, so I'd still prefer Biden over Trump any day. But
Biden bombed Syria? When was this?
it was like let me look it up. It was in the end of February. It was like 3 weeks ago. He bombed Syria. It was on February the 25th, I think. I'm reading here the New York Times. U.S. airstrikes in Syria target Iran-backed militias. That, you know, we need to be getting out of the Middle East. The United States spends a freaking $1 trillion a year, you know, going to war with large part of the world. You know, I mean, there's whole very underplayed and not really talked about very much special forces operating all throughout Africa. You know, we get, you know, and it's you know, you got US troops in Somalia, US troops in Libya, you got US troops in Niger. You know, and so there's like a whole shadow war going on in the Middle East between you know, United States versus China, Russia, and Iran. And so I don't know where all this will lead, but if we're not careful, it could lead to World War III. Um, I mean, that's how World War II started. There was a shadow war going on in Spain. Like you had different factions fighting in the Spanish Civil War of the 1930s, and you had some Italian troops and some German troops backing up one faction, and then you had Russians backing up another faction, and this shadow war ended up being a training ground for future world war, and that's what I worry about. And then, you know, increased hostilities with China, which we don't need to do because we here in the United States we put all of our eggs in one basket, and we're dependent on manufacturing from China. You have the GPU shortage in the United States, silicon chip shortage. You got computer chip shortages, GPU shortages. Manufacturing is all screwed up in the United States in the sense that we don't really have that much manufacturing anymore, and we're dependent on the supply chain. And the supply chain's been breaking down. Like they can't even manufacture cars in America anymore because they have a shortage of computer chips. So yeah, our economy is severely screwed up, and they put a good face on it, and they, you know, they always say that the economy, even when the economy was booming, when they said it was booming, and I say booming in quotations, it wasn't really booming. It hasn't really been booming since before 2008. The Most people never really recovered from the 2008 economic downturn in the United States. They got by with, retail or a service industry job, like working at fast food is not exactly a good job because it doesn't pay for your retirement. It doesn't pay for your health care. It doesn't, most of the time it doesn't even pay enough to afford a place to rent. So you're having to like live with a bunch of roommates you don't know and then put your life in peril and all kinds of stress. Yeah, things are really bad in America. And Biden needs to be more like FDR. Instead, he's more like, oh, I'm going to be a fuddle-duddy conservative corporate Democrat. Well, we don't need that. And I really worry about the future of America because what's going to end up happening is Democratic voters are going to be uninspired to vote for him if he runs for re-election in 2024. I mean, Biden's is already like 78, so I don't know if he's going to run for re-election. Maybe he might. Maybe it'll be Kamala Harris, but if they don't improve living conditions for the majority of Americans, um, Democratic voters are going to be uninspired, and then you're going to end up with another Republican, or you could end up with Trump being back in again. Because Trump has talked about running in 2024, but Trump is also up in age. Trump is I think he was born in 1946, so he's close to 75. I think he's 74. I think he turned 75 later on in the year. Let's see, Trump. He was born in June, so yeah, he's 74 years old. So if Trump were to run again in 3 years, he'd be 77. But he could very well run again, and we could end up with the nightmare of Trump being in a second non-consecutive term, or we could end up with a Republican who is more competent at being a fascist than Donald Trump. And I worry about the future of the company, or the company. America is, that's kind of a Freudian slip. America is kind of treated like it's a for-profit company, and it should be treated non-profit. But yeah, I worry for the future of the country because if you have 4 years of stagnation with Biden, which looks like so far that's what's going to happen, then you're going to have 4 years of things getting worse again with another Republican president, and that's like another 8 years of BS where things don't get better and things continue to deteriorate. And we already see large cracks and fissures in our society, large homeless encampments in every major city. Um, but yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. But things are not good in America right now. They're not.
No, and like I said, like you know what, when in the fall when the temperature lowers, I think this thing will come back. I mean, that's the pattern.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we're going to just look no further than 100 years ago, the Spanish flu pandemic that killed about 600,000 Americans. Um, and it took about 2 years for it to finally die out. Um, but
But you know what,
COVID,
like okay,
COVID deaths in the United States, I haven't checked today. I haven't kept up with it. Yeah, we're up to 545,000 deaths. We still have nearly 1,000 people a day dying. And, it's the same pattern that happened last year is there was a decline in deaths in the spring, and then they started to partially reopen. And some states like Florida never closed, and then Texas is reopening. And then it spread again, and then it got cold again, and then there's going to be a new wave with new variants. And
so you know what this means, right? They're going to shut down theaters again, right? Which means in October, we get Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. If they shut down theaters then, the movie's not going to do nothing. It's going to fail.
Well, yeah, the movie industry has been hit really hard. It's really screwed things up. But yeah.
If it fails, it goes back to Marvel Disney. That's what they said. So, I mean, don't you want to see Venom, a part of the MCU? Venom, Carnage, Morbius, Doc Ock, Green Goblin,
Sure.
a part of the MCU. Because right now they're not a part of the MCU because they're a part of the Sony thing. But Sony will have to give it back if their movies fail, which they will because of this pandemic. No one's going to go to the theaters.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I say there's a 96% chance that'll happen, that these movies are going to fail because no one's going to go to the theater, and then Sony's going to have to give.
Well, aren't they releasing Black Widow now on HBO? They've given up on putting it in theaters.
Yeah, definitely. Not HBO, Disney Plus.
Or Disney Plus. That's right. Not HBO, but Disney Plus. So, and the problem is, even when they put stuff on Disney Plus or on streaming, they only make a tiny fraction of what they would make in, ticket sales.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the movie industry is going to have to change with, maybe their actors are going to have to get paid less. Their executives are going to have to get paid less. They're going to have to reduce their costs somehow, because I think the future of movies is going to be streaming. Unfortunately, I mean, I miss being able to go to movie theaters. But yeah, it's.
I haven't gone to a movie theater in a long time.
The last movie I saw in theaters was Joker.
Did you like it?
I liked it. I thought it was a really good movie, and I think it was a sign of the times, because I loved the gritty realism of a version of Joker that they did, and it was so dark, and you kind of felt sorry for him at the same time. And you've got to understand monsters, even if you don't agree with their methods or what they are. You got to understand them, or history will repeat itself. But yeah, I like how, like, the Joker, he's just this guy who's like, he's a professional clown, and he's just barely scraping by trying to survive, and he's not getting the mental health services or the help that he needs. And then they cut mental health services, and they cut everything, and people in society is so cruel and mean to him that he loses his mind, and he's like, everything's a freaking joke. I used to think my life was a tragedy, but now I think it's a comedy. And so, yeah, I thought that was a really good movie. How they ignored the warning signs of the plight of the poor, and then in Gotham City, it led to rioting or riot and looting and chaos in the city. Because, yeah, if you do not treat people who are the least of us as humanely, then eventually society is going to consume itself and fall apart. And that, I think, was the message in the Joker movie. That was the last movie I saw in theaters. It came out in late 2019, October 2019. But yeah, really good movie. Really good movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Well, you should see it. I have it on Blu-ray. They had it on clearance for like $6. I got really lucky. I bought it for like $6 at Target.
Oh, I wish I had a Target. I think I used to have a Target once around me, but now it's gone. So, yeah.
Yeah, I hear Target shut down all operations in Canada for whatever reason. They still exist in the United States, but not in Canada anymore.
Oh, darn. I know. I lost my chance. I could have gone when it first came, but I waited too long.
Yeah, you snooze, you lose.
Mm.
You snooze, you lose.
I kept on saying, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. And then one day it's gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
So we got about 5 minutes left. So any last thoughts or words in the last 5 minutes?
you know what? Okay. Um, did you like WandaVision finale? I loved it, dude. You're not. I don't think. I don't think. Tell you the truth, I
I thought it
watched.
was pretty good. I know it got some criticism for being unremarkable, and they were disappointed that Doctor Strange didn't show up, but I thought it was pretty good.
You know, I watched Falcon and the Winter
Oh,
Soldier.
episode 1 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I saw it. Did you see that?
Oh, I did. I didn't
It
like
was
it very
boring.
much.
It was boring as hell.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that might lead me to want to watch episode 2 when it comes out is they have the new Captain America, and he looks like he's kind of evil.
Yeah, in the comics, he is a U.S. agent. He is like a government-run Captain America. He's under Thunderbolt Ross, and he's much more quicker to pull the trigger than Captain America. You know, he carries a gun. He's like a corrupt person.
He's like a corrupt mercenary.
Yeah, I didn't like it because I was like, okay, so for timeline wise, Endgame takes place in October 2023. WandaVision is in November 2023, and Falcon the Winter Soldier is in April of 2024.
All right.
And Spider-Man Far From Home is in June of 2024. So it's a prequel to Spider-Man Far From Home. And I think No Way Home is going to be set in. It's going to start off in Christmas 2024, and it's going to be a short time jump, and it's probably going to the rest of the movie is going to be in 2025. So yeah, I love it when they move forward. You know, it's fun.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it was just
what?
like it was just so slow, and they went with like typical like TV drama sitcom stuff with like, oh, I'm trying to struggle to survive, and it's like this is supposed to be a superhero show.
Exactly. This is exactly what I said on my birthday stream with Life with Matthew. I said like, you know, I don't want to see this. Like, I don't care about your finances, Falcon. I want to see Marvel stuff.
Yeah, it was they went too dramatic with it, and it's not really appropriate for a superhero show. We want to see superheroes fighting. I wanted to see, we saw a little bit of it, but it was just like, okay, he's fighting a war in Libya, or Tunisia, on behalf of the U.S. military, and it just comes off as like, a little bit like corporate propaganda. But yeah,
Like,
it was just boring stuff. It was nothing really amazing in the first episode. The only thing that gives me curiosity that I want to see this new Captain America who looks kind of evil.
I mean, we watch Marvel to get away from our world, right? But this episode really brought us back to it because, like, oh, this guy's having Falcon's having financial problems, and he's on the verge of bankruptcy, and he could become poor. And I'm like, I don't want to see that. I watch Marvel to get away from that.
Well, it doesn't make any sense because you would think that he got tech from Stark Industries, right? And even though Tony Stark is dead, he should be friends with whoever is the current CEO, Pepper Potts. He's probably knows Pepper Potts and probably friends with her because he was close friends with Tony Stark. He got the rocket jetpack wings thing from that Stark technology. And so, you would think that he would have like a paid position or at least money from Stark Technologies, even though Tony Stark is not alive. You would think that Pepper Potts or somebody else that he had a connection with in the Avengers would have money for him, or at least a job or position that he could do that would pay him his wages so that he could make a living and not have to struggle to survive. I mean, I get it. They're trying to put him in the eyes of like ordinary Americans, but it's just the way they did it in the first episode. It was just mostly boring. The only thing that was interesting was the cliffhanger with the new Captain America. Anyway, time's up. Thank you, Daniel, for joining me on The World is a Mess, and I Just Want to Steampunk It. This is episode 21, March 24th, 2021. And you have a nice day, and I will see you 25 billion years. I will.
Bye.